Well, hello and welcome. Welcome to today's webinar, Roadmap Strategy for SAP, a business-driven solution to the migration dilemma. Sounds intriguing, I hope. And my name is Scott Hayes. I'm Senior Director of Product Marketing here at Rimini Street, and joining me is Luis Mariotto, who is our Group Vice President and Lead Product Manager for SAP. Hi, Luis. How are you doing today?
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Yeah, I want to get right into it. So let me start with our agenda. Here's what we're going to cover during today's webinar. And let me just mention at the top, if you're interested in asking a question at any time, there's a question icon on the top right of your screen. You can open up that question panel and submit that question through that text question panel. We'd be happy to answer those questions toward the end of our webinar. All right, so what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about vendor pressures. There are multiple. We're going to get into, well, what exactly is the SAP roadmap dilemma? We're going to talk about RISE with SAP contracts and packages. So important for you to understand this. Then we're going to get into RISE adoption. What's the latest data on that? Where do you fall on that curve? And then finally, talk about the Rimini Street alternative to RISE. We've got some really exciting new news to share with you on that. So let's go ahead and get started with this idea of vendor pressures. It's coming in three ways. First, the maintenance end dates. You're probably quite familiar with these maintenance end dates for ECC. And by the way, half of the ECC audience has end dates of 2025 and another half have 2027. That's for mainstream maintenance end dates. And we'll get into those details a little bit later, but that's one of them. So SAP is trying to force the hand of their customers with those mainstream maintenance end dates. Then they'd like them to do a migration. Well, those can be very, very costly. And later we're going to share just an example of how costly that can be for a client. And then third, they more than anything really, they want you to switch your perpetual licenses to subscription. And all three of these things are leading to a loss of control and a loss of autonomy. Following this path could actually have you end up losing control of your roadmap, losing control and predictability and uncontrollability of your costs. So we want to make sure that you understand that going forward. It's pretty clear from SAP leadership that they are all about converting as much revenue to locked in subscriptions as possible. If they can force that conversion from perpetual license to subscription license, and you cannot separate the ability to run the software and the right to run the software from the support and the operations that go with it, then you're pretty much locked in. And what SAP leadership has communicated is that if they can convert what's remaining of about 11 billion euros of annual software maintenance, mostly with ECC, but also with S4HANA on-prem, who have perpetual licenses, 11 billion euros, they want to convert that to subscription, and that will be worth about 2 to 3x in revenue for SAP. So it's very appealing to the SAP investors, although maybe not all that appealing to their customers. And then there's another component, and that is that many of the things that will run in and around the SAP ERP environment are going to run on this thing called BTP, Business Transaction or Business Technology Platform. And there's actually a toll road, a cost, consumption cost, transaction cost, whatever you want to call it, associated with running things like customizations and AI and integrations on this business technology platform that are very hard to understand and very unpredictable. And so you need to measure what that could cost you in future terms. SAP thinks for every 2 to 3 euros of spend that they get, it's going to be yet another euro for them from running these applications on BTP. So I want to turn it over now to Luis to talk about what is really this dilemma, and what are the challenges, and then we'll later get to where we're going to go from there.
Yes, thank you, Scott. So every client, right, that has not yet moved to Rise or to S4HANA Cloud is facing this dilemma. So we talk with hundreds of clients every year. Analysts are also discussing the options. But the fact is, so for those clients running ECC, right, and just remind you, we still have 2/3 of the ECC clients still running the ECC platform today. They need to make a decision now if they're going to move to S4HANA on-prem or if they're going to move to S4HANA Cloud, and they need to decide between two options, the private edition or the public edition. So even for S4HANA on-prem clients, those clients that are already running S4HANA or they have already migrated from ECC to S4HANA, now SAP is coming back to them and say, hey, I know you did a lot of investment in the latest upgrade and implementation, but now you need to move to Rise or to the S4HANA Cloud. So what are the key challenges and risks about this? First, of course, SAP is pushing clients to sign to Rise. Scott gave the reasons, the business reasons behind the SAP investors, right? But they want clients commit to the lock-in subscription contract. We're going to show more about how the Rise contracts works. But that is the key change. So clients need to consider when they are moving to S4HANA Cloud is not only the upgrade, not only the migration, but it's also a change in the licensing mode. So you need to commit to a lock-in bundle in subscription. The other thing is SAP is saying that they will only deliver newest innovations, the future innovation, for example, on AI, on Green Ledger, and other stuff. They are saying that those innovations will only be available for those clients running S4HANA Cloud on Rise or on Grow. So this is another big consideration for all clients. And we need to remind them that this private edition, which is the base of the Rise program, is not a multi-tenant SaaS product like the public edition or like the all other ERP vendors. So this product is basically the same on-prem product hosted in the cloud under the SAP terms and papers under the subscription model, but this is pretty much the same product. It's kind of a hosting. So it means that you need to keep upgrading. So you need to follow the SAP roadmap and upgrading the version. And that's a biggie challenge for clients, especially for those clients that are moving to Rise on the brownfield approach. So because now SAP is saying you should not do brownfield, you should do a clean core, because remember, if every single client has one different implementation, when SAP needs to upgrade the system, they need to do that for hundreds or thousands of clients at the same time. The only way SAP can do that to deliver the latest innovation is if you are running a clean core product. So, but what happens with all those clients that invested in millions on customizations? So that's another big consideration. And of course, we see SAP approaching, especially the net new mid-size clients, they should go directly to the S4HANA Public Edition, which, by the way, is the real true SaaS product. Okay, let's take a look
but
now.
that one restricts customization. So that doesn't fit for most of the upper tier of clients that have done a lot of customizations and need them to run their businesses.
Yes, because the public edition is clean core by design, right? So you cannot change the core of the public edition version. You need to build customizations out of the core in the platform. But let's take a look. What is included in the Rise? So Rise is an offer. It's not a product, right? There is several products and services included as part of the Rise offering. But the first thing is Rise. The first component of Rise, of course, is the S4HANA Cloud. So you need to subscribe for a license to run the S4HANA Cloud, right? Then you also need to license for the infrastructure. The way that SAP set up this is You have a baseline hardware infrastructure included as part of the license. Is based on the number of users you have. But for most of the clients that we have talked with, this baseline hardware could not be enough. Then you needed to license additional infrastructure. You can license what they call extensions, servers, memory, storage. So all of this infrastructure you can choose if you be AWS, Google, Azure. But remember, you are signed up for a SAP paper. You are not signed direct with the hyperscale provider. So SAP is bundling license infrastructure and service. Of course, the support is included in the subscription, but also some of the other services, for example, the infrastructure managed services. So all these hardware are SAP hardware, right? So they needed to manage the infrastructure for you, and this is also included in the price. And if you need something else, you need to license, right? There are some extensions as well in the services. The last part here is what they call the transformation packages, which include several other components and products. For example, the business process intelligence by Signavio, the SAP Build, the credits for the SAP BTP, some functionalities from SAP Ariba, like the supplier portal, and of course, the AI and other functionalities will be included in this part. One of the problems of this model, and this is comes from feedback from clients, is this all these services and components are provided by SAP only. So this is one single contract. So try to imagine it, right? So you are handling all these different components and services from different providers to SAP. Right? Could be interesting because could simplify. On the other hand, SAP will be in charge of the conditions of the price and how they will increment that. So that is a very, very important aspect to consider. So it's one vendor and lock-in contract. Just more details about the packages. It's not simple as you can imagine. So SAP is involved in the package. So now you have like three different packages: the base, the premium plus. Some of the components that we mentioned here, they are only included in the premium plus, and they are offered as a limited quantities. So depending on how much you need to use, you need of course to license more quantities of all these components. So that is the bottom line for the RISE program.
Yeah, thank you, Luis. There's plenty of cautions there, and everything seems to, you know, just be less and less control, as I mentioned at the top, and more cost to get to the things that are maybe the most exciting. But even with the AI, and we're going to get to this toward the end, but keep in mind that the AI they deliver is the AI they decide is most important to deliver, and two, is really within the confines of the SAP application suites. We have a recommendation to go beyond that. But let's take a look at the market at large. What's really happening? So, as you know, there were thousands of companies that moved to S4 HANA in the years after it was released. Most of those moving, of course, to S4 HANA on-prem and keeping their perpetual licenses long before the introduction of RISE. But since RISE, there's been some adoption, some movement of clients from ECC to RISE with SAP, and yet it's only um, about 37%, according to the research, that have done that. So, like Luis said, almost two-thirds haven't moved yet. Well, why is that? Well, it's quite possible that they don't want to give up their perpetual licenses. Totally get that. And they don't want to have unpredictable, uncontrollable costs of subscriptions and usage and consumption. It could be that some customers just prefer keeping those perpetual licenses and using them in a cloud with a hyperscaler of their choice. That's kind of a lift and shift model. Like, hey, I can still run in cloud. I can get rid of my data center and run on one of the three hyperscalers or someone else without having to give up my perpetual licenses that I own. The third, it could be that really complex migrations to RISE are going to take a while, right? That's not something you typically do in a year, and you have to deal with that dilemma of would I do brownfield or greenfield, and if I do brownfield, where's that going to leave me in the space of SAP Cloud? And do I really then have to keep working to the point where I get green over time, green and clean over time, to actually take advantage of things? Could be very, very expensive to do that. And then fourth, RISE can be a much more expensive business model without necessarily having a lot more benefits. I mean, you saw the three columns of packages. You could move what you have and take advantage of the basic package. But if you really wanted some of the new things there were going to be increased costs associated with that model. Now, there are some other things to think about here, and that is that TCO, total cost of ownership, shifts to SAP. In fact, I kind of I say that TCO doesn't really apply anymore. It's going away because there's no ownership. It's now total cost control by the vendor, right? So it's another thing to be very concerned about. I would advise, how would it go if you went to your CFO and said, our future costs for our ERP solution are going to be unpredictable and uncontrollable? Let me know how that conversation goes. So we do throw out that caution as well. And we're not the only ones with some cautions in the market. Here's a link to an article on CIO.com that basically says that RISE is not the most popular option for all of those reasons we just shared. It also talks about Joule, the generative AI that SAP is producing. And at the time of this article, it was said it's not really yet robust and mature. I know they keep adding to it, but again, is it exactly the AI use cases you need? And should you be thinking about AI in a broader sense? Now, I'm going to come back to our very first pressure from the vendor, and that is the maintenance dates. I'm going to turn it over to Luis. I want to make sure you know what version you're on and when your Main Street maintenance ends. So go ahead with this, Luis.
Yes. Well, why this is relevant? Because when we discuss with the clients and ask you, why are you doing this transition or this migration, right, to RISE? Of course, there are some clients, they have a business case, right, to do that. They see they are in a moment to do a transformation, right? Probably they will do a greenfield implementation, replatforming. So that happens with some clients. But the majority, the absolute majority of the clients, when we ask the reason, the number one reason, guess what? Because of the end of support. So they know they will be running out of support if they're running ECC or if they are running S/4HANA. For example, ECC, most of the ECC clients are running enhancement package 8 through 6 to 8, will be out of support in 2027, right? Just a few years ahead. They can extend the maintenance, paying more for SAP until 2030. But there are a lot of clients that are running enhancement package 0 to 5. They're still running customized stable systems, but they can't go to the next version next year. So they will be forced to do something. So that's the reason they are evaluating now, right? It's not that they have a real business case. Even for clients that are already running S/4HANA on-prem, 75% of the S/4HANA clients are run on-prem licensed systems. So they also are facing end of support dates. But then the clients ask us, to analysts, say, what are the options? What are the alternatives? So then come Rimini Street. So what we do, we offer one clear alternative for clients that are not ready yet to upgrade, or they don't see the business case, or they see risk, right? They see, hey, it's I cannot afford the cost and the risk, or they have other priorities, right? So there are a lot of situations when the SAP clients are looking for alternatives and just not jumping in the SAP just because of the SAP pressure. So Rimini Street
Exactly
can
right.
replace, yeah. So if you
Yeah.
want to comment, Scott?
Yeah, I was going to say exactly right, Luis. I mean, our SAP clients, we have hundreds of them. These dates are irrelevant.
Yeah.
They've got all the time they need to decide their future strategy while getting their current system supported, helping them stay compliant, and taking their time to
Yeah.
squeeze the most value out of their current system without being forced by some arbitrary date to make a change.
Yeah, even if in the future you want to reassess, right, your options or even reassess the RISE program when you have a business case to do a transformation, a greenfield implementation, moving to clean core, that's fine. But maybe this is not the right time for many clients. So Rimini Street can help postponing, right, this decision. So you can buy some time to make a decision maybe in 3 or 4 or 5 years from now, or you just can look into other alternatives. And while you are planning your next move on your ERP strategy, you can benefit from significant savings. So that
Yeah.
could
So
go from 50 to 90.
and the savings we show here, 15 to 90%, that's really on the maintenance fees and other typical operations of the software, upgrades, self-support, customization support. That's where that comes from. But there's there's much more savings to be had when you think about the cost of also doing a migration. So Luis will take you through this model we have.
Yeah. We are helping some of the clients look into the costs. Of course, we always need to take in consideration, right, the benefits and the especially when you are doing a transformation. But again, we have seen many clients doing the brownfield migration just because of the end of support date. And I have a real example here, but we have a calculator that you can help you if you need help on that, right? So, for example, in this case, a client that's paying 1 million for annual support for SAP, right? So based on that scope, right? So if they move to RISE versus just stay on ECC until 2030 with SAP, right? Or if they move to Rimini Street. So we can see in the screen the potential saves. So of course, if you are doing, it depends of the size of the company, the complexity. We have global clients that they are budgeting like 50, sometimes 100 million just to do all this big transformation. So you can save right now, right? And assess your options maybe in a future time and keep running your current versions and modernizing and keep innovating on top of your current version. How can you do that? So I think you can go next.
Yeah. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Rimini support model, let me just take a minute or two to describe it here. Since 2005, we've been disrupting that whole vendor support arrangement by being an independent third-party support provider, and we do it differently. Rimini support has been shown to be far more responsive and comprehensive than most vendors typically deliver. So you can see some of the things on the screen, some of the aspects of our model here. And know that it includes things like tax, legal, and regulatory updates that you need to make sure that you remain compliant in that realm. Because once you come to Rimini Street, then the updates that would normally come with your maintenance agreement from SAP obviously still need to come at you. Well, we provide all of the tax, legal, and regulatory updates. We provide security solutions that protect and set you on a new path of, uh, of mitigating security risk in your environment. We provide some other capabilities that help you modernize your entire environment. But one of the things I want to call out is how responsive we are. So if you're familiar with, typical cases of priority one, two, three, and four, priority one, kind of house on fire, production down issue, priority two, a serious issue. In 2023, our response time for P1 and P2 issues was under 2 minutes. Now, that's not just, hey, we got your ticket, we'll get to it when we can. That's 2 minutes direct engagement with an experienced engineer, right? And our model is all human first. So let's get those engineers working with your team as soon as possible and as closely as possible. We have developed some proprietary, even one patented AI application, but we don't stuff that between our engineers and our clients. Rather, we use those AI applications behind our engineers to help make sure that we assign the best engineer available right now to the right case, to your cases with the most experience, and to help those engineers resolve the cases in the most expedient manner. So Rimini support is truly very, very different. But the big model picture is we've taken those dates off the table. You get great support. You get ongoing security and tax, legal, and regulatory capabilities, and you can take your time in deciding what to do next. Now, we've done this for hundreds of SAP clients, and Luis used to be the head of our SAP support practice, so I'll let him take it from here and talk about some of these clients that we have.
Yes, as Scott has described here, it's not only right as a cost savings, both from avoiding enforced upgrade or direct cost savings in the annual support, but it's also a better service, right? So better SLA, a better team, a broader scope, so we can do more with less. I've been leading the SAP business and support at Rimini Street for the past 9 years, but we are helping clients, SAP clients across the globe in the past 18 years. So we have served almost 1,000 SAP clients, all size, different industry, super high complex systems. So that's what we do. And when someone asking us, okay, but when we are being not having the support from directly from SAP, from the vendor, how can I keep innovating on that? So, and we see that many of these organizations, so they are adopting what we call composable ERP, so or innovations around the edge. So this is a different way. So you don't need necessarily to expect new functionality or new innovations from the vendor. So like you did in the past. So now you can have a much more flexible way of delivering innovation, right? And avoiding to change the core system, which is mission critical for your organization. You cannot change that all the time, doing upgrades all the time. So that's risky beyond the cost. That's risky. So this composable ERP approach means you can keep innovating around the core of your ERP. So you can build a new capability much faster without disrupting, right, what is working well. So on top of what you have. And by the way, the reality is most of our clients, most of the companies, they don't rely only one single system, right? So we see a lot of clients already adopting some of the best of hybrid cloud application. Green Cargo is one very good example. We have several hundreds of clients doing that. But the Green Cargo, they adopt the idea of the composed ERP by design. So they decided to do that and they built the platform following all the composable ERP principles. And Ingo Paz, the CIO from Green Cargo, he was recognized for 2 years as a best CIO because the innovations he could deliver to Green Cargo without disrupting, right, all the core system and without spending millions on upgrades. So it's a very different way to deliver innovation. All right.
Ingo had a very interesting perspective on this, and he really had to convince other C-level leaders at his company that it was in the best interest of the company and their clients for him to take this composable approach. and not just follow on the SAP vendor recommended path. And in fact, during that experience, he wrote this book called Digital
Oh,
Composable Enterprises, and I do recommend it. The first few chapters really talk about those C-level discussions that were so much about why this was the right path forward for him. And
yeah.
speaking of paths, yeah, go ahead, Luis.
No, Ingo is an enthusiast about that. I have been attending some of his presentations about what he's doing. But what I like is that for him, doing these major upgrades is a restriction to innovation. Because
Hmm.
when you're doing that, companies are taking years and millions. And while you are doing that, investing on that, for what? So he's already benefiting. He's delivering right innovation and value to the business doing this composable approach. But anyway, it's good that you have alternatives, right, Scott? So you don't
Yep.
need it necessarily to follow. We know that for many clients, following the SAP patch would be good, right? Might be the best patch for some of them. But even for those clients that they think about the potential benefits of the SAP S4HANA Cloud and RISE, so if they don't have the business case yet, they don't need to hurry. They don't need to do just because SAP is pressure on the date. So they can move it to Rimini Street, right? They can stay running the versions they are, and they can optimize what they have. And in the next years, they can plan for a future migration to RISE. Maybe when they are ready to do a greenfield on clean core, so replatform everything. We have some clients that they come to Rimini, they stay 5 years, 6, 7 years, and they say, hey, now it's time to do a greenfield. That's no problem. But many other clients, they are saying, you know what? I don't like the model of this lock-in, right? It's not good for everybody. So if you think that benefits from S4HANA Cloud and Rise is not for you, right? You can keep staying running the version that you have, and you can modernize in different ways. For example, we have hundreds of clients that already moved to cloud. How they are doing that, right? So they are shifting all the SAP workloads to the hyperscales. So we have the majority of our clients are already running on cloud right now, but it doesn't mean that you need to jump into the lock-in contract with a single vendor. So you keep your license and you control the relationship with your hyperscale partner, and you can decide the best way of adopting the innovation right from the vendors. Lots of clients are innovating using best of breed cloud applications like Salesforce, Workday, and even SAP cloud apps like Ariba and Concur and Service and Salesforce and SuccessFactors, for example, right? So, but you can go in that path. And you know what? We also have clients that they realize, all right, if I need to do a replatform, I need to do a greenfield, I need to implement everything from scratch, should I consider a new ERP? Why not? So we have seen clients look into that, not only because you run SAP for many years. This is necessarily the best option for you in the future. So, but the most important for me here, you have alternatives, you have options, you can decide what is best for your business and when you need to do the next step. So take a look in the innovation around the edge, the composable ERP approach, because it's becoming very popular among our clients. So we have announced very recently a partnership with ServiceNow because we believe that joining right the forces from Rimini Street knowledge and experience on running complex ERP like SAP, not only the core ERP but the full business suite from SAP, together with the ServiceNow platform, right, that can quick deliver innovation, quick delivery AI workflow. So you can quick change completely your user experience or even adding new process, integrate with other systems on top of your SAP or ERP system. So this partnership, we are we believe that we are adding more and more value for the clients. So you can shift the savings, right, of avoiding a costly upgrade, the savings from moving the support from SAP to Rimini Street, and shift that savings and people and resource to quick innovate with ServiceNow platform. So
Let's take a
uh,
look at what kinds of things are going to be available on that platform.
yeah, so the ServiceNow platform is a very modern platform. So they have all these functionalities that you can connect to the SAP. They have one specific ERP hub integration for SAP that simplify the models, and then even the business user can quick create new workflows on top of that data, and the data will be automatically synchronized with the SAP data. So the good news is now Rimini Street can not only help you providing savings and a better support and a better services, but also we can help you on innovating using the ServiceNow platform. So Rimini Consult and Rimini Manage services can help you building this innovation. And again, like Ingo said, right? So you can gradually deliver innovation according to your priorities instead of spending years and millions in a full upgrade to then realize what's going to come after that from the vendor.
Yeah. All right.
So
Thanks,
time to
Luis.
wrap
That is
up.
exciting news for sure, and we're seeing some very interesting innovation projects
Yeah.
come out and get started with that platform. An alternative, by the way, to the business technology platform from SIP. So um, there are many services. I talked about Rimini support, but we do have many complementary services that go with it. And Luis talked about that as well. But look on the left-hand side of the slide. It's not just for SAP. It's for other parts of your enterprise software landscape. And it's for whatever you need to do. Do you need support? Do you need managed services? Do you need some consulting professional services projects done? Do you need to up your game on security? That's what Rimini Protect is all about. What about modernizing your technology stack? What if you need to upgrade your operating system or your browsers to the latest release without having to uh, upgrade your core applications? Well, we can do that with Rimini Connect. And Rimini Watch is all about monitoring your solutions to make sure that they're running at peak performance. So there's several things on this slide. We do have phenomenal client success satisfaction rating, 4.9 out of 5. That average savings we talked about, 50 to 90%. We've actually done a study here, and it does average out to 75% total maintenance cost savings. And you know, the company you keep, look, we have over 200 of the Fortune 500 and Global 100s that have signed with Rimini Street. So very large clients. Let me wrap it up this way. Look, you've got the dilemma ahead of you and the opportunity to pick the smartest path for your organization. And we truly believe that keeping your options open is the number one thing to think about. And I mean those options technically, functionally, and commercially. We talked about all of those in this webinar. Um, and the benefit you get of taking the Rimini Smart Path is you get to accelerate innovation, which doesn't come from having to do a multi-year migration, but rather to do innovation now in and around what you have. You get to avoid the migration risk and expense and potential disruption, and then finally reduce costs. So great benefits from that. And with that, I'd like to see if we have any questions that have come in during our webinar here, and we will take those as they have come in. Taking a look for those at the moment. I don't see any yet. Louise, I'll give a minute here to see if there are any that come in from our audience.
Okay.
All right. All right. Well, without those questions, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. I thank you for your time today. If you'd like more information about our service here, about our strategy, about the Rimini Smart Path, please reach out to us. I also do a shameless plug for our video podcast series that Luis and I do. You can find that at riministreet.com/SAP Live. And I am told that there are some questions in here. Let me refresh and see if I see them. I don't see them yet. How interesting. I'm not seeing them on my end, so we're going to wrap it up. Thank you very much. We'll see you at riministreet.com/SAP Live for some other videos on these topics. Thanks a lot for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.